to this other school that's predominantly white. And I'll tell you why they're doing that. It's because that black school's got high test scores. And I'm not for, quote, segregation, but if you looked at the black communities before the new evil of, quote, forced integration that took one evil and created another, all the black-owned businesses, the black-owned hotels, the black doctors, all of it, even the black universities got hit, everything got hit, because that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger if you know you're under attack. Lower level of kids out of wedlock, you name it, than the white community. You watch what happens to those black students when they force them into some yuppie, spoiled, rotten school. You watch, their test scores will plummet. And that's exactly why they're doing this all over the country. They're finding communities that are doing well. And by the way, they've done a poll. CNN admitted, almost everyone in the school, the academics, everybody says, we don't want this to happen. And they're telling them, we're going to close your nice schools, and we're going to make you go across town. And that'll create a big fight. I mean, if you bust in kids from another town, period, that were all white, it'd cause a big weird thing. But I mean, this is social engineering, folks. What they do, how they do it, how they operate, they are just totally destroying our culture and our civilization. It's shutting off our power plants and raising taxes so we can't compete, and Obamacare to wreck us. It is 11:24 Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Alex Jones. In the second hour, Dr. Edward Gribb's going to be joining us to talk about tritium. It isn't picked up by regular Geiger counters or field meters, but almost all nuclear reactors in the United States and the world are leaking it, and a bunch of other isotopes. And this is actually in the scientific papers, but it's not really known by the public, and it's one reason cancer is exploding. We have Joe Jennings, whose dad died just about a year ago from a giant brain tumor. He grew up next to one of these big nuclear power plants, and they even admitted that that was one of the main causes of the cancers increasing. And now they don't even care about the reactors. It's reported by the International Atomic Energy Agency that 93% of nuclear reactors, and there's more than 600 of them, 400 plus for power, are leaking. And now they're 30, 40 years old, most of them. They just don't care. That's coming up in the next hour. And I was never an anti-nuclear power guy. If it was done properly and things, it wouldn't be as big an issue. But these companies just don't care, just like with genetic engineering and everything else. So that's coming up with Dr. Gribb and others here in studio, including one of the victims of this, with us in the second hour. This hits pretty close to home with Joe Jennings. And, of course, Joe's concerned about his health in the future as well, dealing with this. I had family in Vietnam hit by Agent Orange. No history of deformed children. Came back. Their first kids were deformed. Buckley's older brother died when he was about 2. This is the type of stuff we deal with here. So it's a very, very serious situation, just like glyphosate's in the water, and we're going to be exposing it and talking about ways to try to block it or not have the effects be as bad. But you do not want to live near a nuclear power plant, ladies and gentlemen, or you definitely want to be on top of them and make sure that they're not leaking tritium. So we'll break down the details coming up today. And, of course, a few years ago, we sent Jakari Jackson and others out to California. They found upwards of 25 times the safe levels on the Geiger counters and field meters, and ours had been tested and certified. People said, oh, you're not radiologists, you can't speak. The Army responded to us, and the Navy went to the exact same spots. It was in the San Francisco Chronicle, and said, yes, their findings were accurate, upwards of 25 times the normal safe level, but we say it's okay. And they'd pull fish out of the ocean. People catching fish, we'd put a Geiger counter to them even higher because it bioaccumulates in the fish, just like other toxins do, like lead, mercury, and arsenic. So that's coming up today in the second hour. By the way, I don't normally think to do plugs like this, but I'll do one because it segues to it. That's why you need gravity-fed water filtration systems like the Alexa Pure and the Pro Pure. And you also need it on your shower heads, because you absorb through your skin and breathe a lot of this stuff as well. And these systems, the 4-stage filter we have is the very best out there. It has a very low price as well. It's an amazing filter, the ProMax filter by ProPure, 60-something bucks. Leading competitors are like 70 or 80 and are 1-stage filters and don't even cut out what we cut out. This totally cuts out hundreds and hundreds of different toxins and other things, and then the others, it reduces down to like 99, 99.7, 99.9. We've got all the tests online there at InfoWarsStore.com. You can go see each filtration system, see what the test showed. None of these cut everything out. Okay, not even reverse osmosis, not even distilled cuts out, stuff down to the billionths or whatever, but it basically removes it. Like an emergency system like the Life Straw or other systems, that just makes really bad water in the swamp okay to drink so you won't get sick. But it isn't like an Alexa Pure or a ProPure system that's gravity fed that, cuts out 99.99999, and a lot of things completely cuts it out. We've got great reverse osmosis systems as well. You just don't want to drink reverse osmosis all the time because it also cuts out all the minerals. But if you do daily drink a few glasses of the recommended dose of the Vitamin Mineral Fusion system that's grapefruit punch flavored, totally natural, totally healthy from plant-derived sources, InfoWarsLife.com. Vitamin Mineral Fusion is amazing. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And it is really something that everybody, regardless, should be having every day, replacing the juices that are so fattening, the sodas that are so toxic and have so many admitted problems, the so-called diet drinks that they admit in major studies actually make you crave more food and get fatter. Remember Dr. Blaylock telling me that 20 years ago, and then now in the last few years it's been in mainstream news. I mean, this is something everybody should replace all the garbage you're drinking with. Do yourself a favor, buy a canister of it. It's concentrated. It's a month's supply. And you've supported the broadcast regardless, but it's so good. It makes me feel so good. In fact, speak of the devil, can somebody make me an ice drink of that? Because I keep forgetting. Thank you. I don't really have butlers around here and don't have them toady after me, but I'm kind of stuck here at the chair, and I meant to go get one earlier and got busy working. But we're going to come right back, ladies and gentlemen, with a ton of news on the economy, on the race, on these earthquakes, and so much more. Stay with us. I don't intend to make this another plug, but I am about to drink my Vitamin Mineral Fusion from InfoWarsLife.com. The all-in-one amino acid, trace minerals, vitamins, all together. Vitamin B12, you name it. Got a bunch of other fancy stuff in it. It really is set to be a leader in that area of nutraceuticals. Some of the really cool stuff it's got in here. Yeah, vitamin B12, methylcobalamin based. It's got so many other just amazing, amazing things in it. Coenzyme Q10. L-glutamine. I mean, I can't read the hundreds of things in here. It's amazing. InfoWarsLife.com. And briefly finishing up on the water filtration, I start thinking about all the radiation, all the isotopes, all the tritium that is just permeating our society. Now the Northern Hemisphere is 3 times more radioactive than it was before the Manhattan Project. Not even before the A-bombs in 1945 at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. But radiation started going up and they started producing and mining that stuff and purifying it. And the main way you get it is the water table. And you can filter your water and cut almost all that garbage out, and the glyphosates, the Roundup runoff, all of it. You're still going to get it bioaccumulated in the food you eat. But, man, it's so important that you put these filters on your showers and on your bathtubs and that you filter the water you drink, folks. It is so easy to protect your family to a great extent. InfoWarsStore.com, 10% off promo code WATER on all water filtration systems. And finally, and I'm done plugging this hour, we haven't done a sale on Survival Shield X2 in a long time by itself at a level of 20%. 20% off on Survival Shield Nation Iodine X2 that protects the thyroid from so many of the bad halogens and radioactive isotopes, you name it. Because your thyroid won't absorb them if it's already full of the good halogen iodine it needs to then basically produce hormones and a bunch of other things inside the body. You've got to have it. It will try to produce things with bad halogens if it doesn't have the good one. Survival Shield X2, just game-changing, pure iodine, true iodine, atomic iodine at InfoWars. And we say atomic, it isn't radioactive, folks. It is the element. It is iodine. There are many things saying they're iodine that have iodine in it bound where you don't absorb it. This is iodine. This is pure iodine. Purple blue crystals. Not red. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Let me do this. I've got to just read these headlines because I already got into political correctness the first 20 minutes or so, and then I got off into what we're going to cover in the next hour in the last little segment. Let me just do this and control myself. Let me just start. This doesn't mean it's our top story, but there's just so much in here that I'm going to start and just give you the headlines right now. Zika expected to spread to Europe this summer, already spreading to the United States and is sexually transmitted. Champions of Free Speech launched 60 million First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. But I looked up Columbia University. They've got all the social justice warrior, free speech banning garbage there. Whatever. Maybe they'll rediscover it. Markets just reflect whatever central planners want them to, is what a lot of the top banking experts are now admitting is going on. You know, don't central banks rule the world, as MSNBC said, and all the guests agreed? Yes, they do. 117 million LinkedIn email addresses and passwords put up for sale. And the answer is change your password frequently, often, and then some more, and make it complex and not stupid. I know some people have the same passcode they had 15 years ago. You are crazy. And you wonder why your identity is being stolen all the time. Change your passcodes. We're going to get into all of that coming up. More quakes rumble northwest, volcanoes, King News. Oregon's Mount Hood has seen about 40 earthquakes since Monday in close proximity over less than 18 hours. Such clusters of earthquakes are known as swarm. The location of the quakes is in the southern flank of the volcano. They are small, 2.0s or less, but this happened last time Mount St. Helens blew up. There's a more detailed article at Infowars.com by Michael Snyder. Major eruption imminent. Earthquake swarms reported at Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens. I'm going to get into that more. Researchers, diversity in soil imperative for supporting ecosystems. And all over the world, the soil is dying because of the chemicals and things that are being added. And that's a Infowars.com article by Christina Sarich, who does such a great job. Earthworms enrich the soil, pesticides harm it. And we're turning into a big dust bowl, obviously. I'm not against technology, but it's being misused, misappropriated, and we're strip mining the planet. But we're more worried about carbon dioxide, limiting that makes plants grow. That'll save us. Just only worry about that, not all the thousands of serious issues. Everything will be fine. Never worry about the terraforming that's going on by whoever, the geoengineering by our loving elite. The feds are telling folks, make a grocery list and start stocking up with a week's worth of food, the Examiner reports. They tell you how to shop. Now they'll tell you how to tie your shoelaces because public education's done such a good job. Meddling in Syria's civil war worked out so well, now the Pentagon's decided to move back in with troops and air support. So they topple Gaddafi for no reason, bring al-Qaeda in. Now they want to come in and, quote, kick those guys out and put in some new government. This is absolutely insane. But if you're weapons sellers, it is a fabulous idea. White House cites executive privilege, keeps Obama aide from testifying about Iran nuclear deal, which is now admitted to be a complete lie against the American people, like Obamacare and everything else these scallywags engage in. Venezuela spends millions on incredibly dumb things while its economy collapses, and the lights actually now are only on about an hour a day in many areas. And there's this mass looting and death every day, but college kids here dream of one day living in a place like Fidel Castro's Cuba or Hugo Chavez's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Venezuela. Another article up on Infowars.com by Paul Watson. Boris, that's the guy running for Prime Minister in England, the former mayor of London, is completely right. The EU was a Nazi brainchild. We go through all the mainline history of it and how it was a Nazi plan and how the Nazis set up the Bilderberg Group with the United States and England and set up the CIA, national security structure, so they could actually take over the United States. Now, not the Nazis, but the Nazi plan was adopted. You're just seeing a soft kill, slow motion version of it, and I know everybody's certainly enjoying the 3,000% increases in cancer, 2,000% increase in type 2 diabetes, and massive 10,000+% increase in pediatric cancers. The IQ is massively dropping. Everyone walking around like drooling zombies. I'm sure you're enjoying it, right? There's no weapon system attacking. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Move along. No, the EU is a Nazi project and was established as the Nazis would have established it with their blueprint, with everything, breaking up the family, bringing in the Muslims, just all of it's a beautiful Nazi plan. And before the media quotes me, it's a horrible plan, but you guys like it, so, that run the system. Here's some interesting news, some good news, but then also some bad news. Washington Post, U.S. judge strikes down D.C. concealed carry gun law as probably unconstitutional. They just left it as probably. So another judge has seconded the Supreme Court. But Hillary says, don't worry.